Guys, I contemplated putting the paper bag on. I'm not going to lie. Really tough times out here in the streets. I'm reminded of a song from the 90s. If I would have had time, I would have clicked it. It's called Don't Laugh at Me. That's kind of how I feel. Don't call me names. Don't get your pleasure from my pain. In God's eyes, we are all the same. So, all you college football fans out there, I'm sure the comment section is going to be pretty funny. I know fans are outraged. You kind of see two different squads out there. UNC started off the year tough, lost a quarterback, really had some dark times, but they have gotten better. Something you saw from Norvell early in his career. He got a big win in 2020 over North Carolina, who I think was number 5 at the time, even though that team was bad. They only won 3 out of the 9 games they played. 2021, you start 0-4, but still, you see this team improve. You eventually settle on Jordan Travis. You rally around him. You end the season winning ball game. This team has gone the other way. It continues. You continue to see worse and worse things as the year goes on. And there was not much hope in this one. You just really struggled early on with the offense. Uh, Early and often, it's pretty much what it is. And then the defense, you know, I've kind of had the defense back. Like they've given us a chance to win most of the ball games we're in, but it's kind of hard to tell because this defense, when something goes good, it goes good. But like they weren't gassed, at certain points in the first half and the beginning of the third quarter in this game. Like anytime a team actually runs their offense and they're not just telegraphing runs, there's giant holes and huge mistakes. So it's really hard to judge this defense. Nothing as bad as the offense was. Shout out Omar Graham Jr., a single player who has gotten better, who was terrible to start the year. Apparently was hurt, finally healthy. But yeah, let's start with the quarterback strategy that he came into the game with. I was curious what they're going to do with Luke, if they're going to try to save a red shirt, try to work him up to where maybe he could get one of the starts of the latter games. They ended up putting him in the third drive. I don't so much mind switching the quarterback, throwing Luke out there to give Brock a second, give him a couple drives to get his thoughts together, look at the tablets, come out and have some success. And we've seen that change, yield positive results, positive momentum as soon as Luke gets in there and even Brock when he comes back. So, I was totally fine with that. My issue, constantly comes back to how they use the running game. It seems like they treat this offense and this team as if, okay, we got a first down. We're going right back to we got Jordan Travis and we're a playoff caliber team and we can do whatever we want. And then they'll throw on first down, second down, third down, and fourth down. And then you're off the field. They forget the greatest drive of the game. When Brock comes up back in, how did that thing start off? 3 runs in a row, and then they throw it on fourth down, and all of a sudden you get going. You get rolling down the field. But for whatever reason, as soon as they get a first down or two, they just completely abandon the run every time. There's a bit of a refusal, from my eyes. I'm no expert, I'm trying my best here, but from my eyes, it just seems like, and y'all know how I feel about Lawrence Toafili. Like, why in the first 5 minutes of your possession or 5, plays do you have to have 3 different running backs in the game? Like, you're having all these issues executing all year long. And so you put 5 different guys out there to have a chance to make a mistake. If Keziah or Toafili could have gotten all those carries, maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they'll get in a rhythm. I don't see how it's possible for anybody on the team to get in a rhythm as it pertains to the running back with how they're running this thing. It's just like they're hoping somebody gets lucky and runs a touchdown on one of their carries. It really makes no sense to me. And again, the best drive of the entire game, they ran it first down, second down with Keziah. and then they ran it with Toafili. Then the next time Toafili gets a carry, it's like 3rd and 11, or just, all these completely missed reads, quarterback zone reads. That's one thing that Luke and Brock both did a terrible job tonight, as it affects the running game. Whether they were actual called just straight runs or quarterback keeps, he would bobble the handoff to a way that just completely sold it to the defense. They know whether they're tackling the quarterback or the running back. There was 3 or 4 plays like that that were really cumbersome, and it just makes you wonder, how about we just hand it to 9, this or that? But Jeff Hill, one of the OGs on my channel, on the FSU Voice of College Football channel as well, with the $10 super chat. Charleston Southern is the only game I can see on our schedule winning, and to be honest, I don't say that with confidence the way we're playing. I haven't looked at Charleston Southern at all at their defense, but yeah, no, you can't. I'm not marking it down as a guaranteed dub. You can't do that against really G5, P5. It doesn't really matter at this point with this team. The offense, there's so many things. The offensive line obviously struggled. One play that stands out, people were talking about they blitzed on Twitter. It wasn't even a blitz. It was just a regular 4-man rush. FSU had 4 or 5 or 6 guys to protect, and they just did a regular stunt. The tackles and the defensive ends on both sides essentially swap places. They cross each other and hit. The defensive tackle takes the edge, and the defensive end takes the inside gap. And it was just domination. There was another where they rushed 3 and just got straight to the quarterback. But at the same time, to my point earlier, you pass it on 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th down, and you go empty, and dude just does a 3, 5, 7-step drop. It's like, I don't understand the thought process. We know we're going for it on 4th down. They're really, really opposed to running it on 1st down. Seems to my eye, I'd have to go look at the data, but it seems like most of the successful drives we've had this year, and I've said it every week, has been when they've just ran it 2 or 3, 4, 5 times in a row. I don't understand what they have to lose. You score 1 touchdown, 1 field goal a game. It's like all year long you've been doing this shit, throwing it on 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th down. Like, just try to run it. I don't really hung up on that, guys. It's tough to watch because, yeah, here's what it comes down to before I just keep rambling on and rambling. I'm not going to sell you guys on change or hope for anything these next 3 games. I don't see it coming down the road unless some kind of miracle happens. I put the little duck on the thumbnail. Been talking about it, the entire season since like the 3rd week. There are coaches on this staff that are lame ducks. There are players on this roster that are lame ducks. We've lost all of our wide receiver committed. We've lost half our D-line committed. We lost our top tight end committed. It's bad. It's not looking good. Wouldn't be surprised if a couple of the commits in the stands that we had for this game decommitted. Somebody, I don't know if it was a Twitter troll or what, they posted a video of somebody on their phone decommitting during the game. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but look, it would not surprise me. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows that there's going to be some major changes on this staff. I don't know how they get it turned around between here and now. The young man, Trevor Jackson, dressed out. They were ready for an emergency case if he was going to have to play. We didn't end up seeing that. There's a fundamental reluctance, and it's something we've seen from coaches in the past. Ironically, Jimbo Fisher, and the way he went about things, calling plays, never relinquished that. It's just an awful lot of deja vu around here. Obviously, it was never this bad anywhere back there. It's just, if he's not willing to change his offense, simplify it, do it like teams everybody knows what's coming. And I can beat on the offense all day. Let's talk about the defense a little bit. And this is something that I pointed out, and it's been talked about quite a bit. We keep giving up all these third and longs. Anytime the offense gets a little something going, There is never situational defense to help. If they're going to give up an 80-yard run, it's going to be right after we scored a touchdown every single time. That's one thing. But situationally, in all these third and longs, I'm trying to chart what's the difference. They rush forward every single time. They'll be doing all kind of stuff. They'll have everybody lined up on the scrimmage. They'll run straight man coverage. They'll do all kind of fun stuff. And then they'll get to third and long, and they will rush forward and drop everybody, maybe with a spy that never, ever gets to the quarterback. He never gets to the quarterback. And they just give the guy all day long to pass, and he finds somebody. Like you always used to hear coaches talk about tendency breakers. It was big when Jimbo was here. He would have tendency breakers. He would show you something all first half, and he would come out off of it. We heard all about Adam Fuller's adjustments and everything in the second half. And certain people would say, "What adjustments? I don't see any adjustments. They just play better." And look, that the truth of that is shining through because we are not seeing any adjustment in the second half of these games, or even from down to down. We rushed more than four. We sent a blitz on 1 3rd down. It was a crucial one that got us into garbage time. And who do you blitz? You blitz a safety that's 40 yards away. I mean, he's 10 yards away from the play when the quarterback releases it. He doesn't have even a chance. Just to let these guys run it and 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 run it. They had, by the time we got to garbage time, they had ran through it 3 times in the second half and ran it like 26 or something. Like, when do you adjust? When do you say, let's take a risk, let's run man coverage? Like, I don't. Anybody, if you have any questions, comments, of course, the super chats always get thrown up here. But yeah, I'm not there's really not a ton to talk about in this game, but I will answer any and all of your questions. The offense, guys, the offense just cannot do anything, cannot get anything going. And situationally, it's almost, I don't know, you guys can tell me your opinion. Like, are they just crappy in the moment? Like, they're doing good, and then all of a sudden they give up a big play? Or is it that anytime there is a pressure moment, anytime there's something actually at stake and it's not just another down out there, in all those moments, the defense can't make a play? It feels a lot like that. I'm trying not to be too hard on them because what are you going to do if the offense can never score? But yeah, there's really no way to judge this defense. 5 and 6 made some pretty good plays tonight. Again, I said Omar Graham. Prayers out to Juice. Looked like a right ankle injury, maybe that bottom of the tibia there, that really bad injury. Hopefully, we'll pray that's not it. Hopefully, it's better than everybody's thinking, but they put a air cast on it. So yeah, prayers to Juice Cryer. The defensive ends not getting it done. Sione Lolohea, who did a good job setting the edge early on the year, has regressed. Now, all the time, they're only rushing 4, and you've got to try to stop a run. 2 or 3 times I've seen him spin inside as a defensive end. And it's like, you can't. I get you're trying to break loose to get the pass rush, but as soon as you do that, the quarterback would run, hand it off, or whatever. Pat Payton, non-existent, as per usual at DN. The safeties played pretty well. AZ really got burned up on one drive. He pretty much gave up the whole drive because people were comparing him to Jalen Ramsey. I will give Azaria Thomas all the love. He's played like 80-plus snaps all year. He is a coverage guy, and he's damn good at it. But when it comes to tackling on that boundary, setting the edge and leverage and things like that, he's not on this level of a Jalen Ramsey. But yeah, I see somebody said Brock is lost in all caps. I don't like the way the coaching staff is calling things for them. Like, how many times are you going to keep? It's like, they want to say we're just going to continue running our system and try to get everybody to execute. But how many times do you got to figure out this team can't do that and try to do this? They want to get it all in one play. And it hasn't worked. It's not even come anywhere close to work. Like the whole team's shutting down. Why not just let these guys get after it and run the ball more? Run the ball 3 times, and then you get one chance to try to go for it. But they get so strung out with those 2nd and 14, 3rd and 17. The running backs, for the most part, don't go backwards unless it's just a complete F up with one of those zone reads and things of that nature. Lawrence Toafili was the captain. At the beginning of the game, they named the captains. Lawrence Toafili is the captain. The other 2 captains, Azaria Thomas and Daryl Jackson, are on the field the entire game. The offensive captain, they did it to Ja'Kai Douglas twice before Lawrence Toafili got it. Like, sorry, guys. But yeah, anybody got the final score? I ended up quitting earlier. I think it was I can't remember, 50, 30 or 30, 34-11. I think when I stopped watching it. This is tough. This is tough to watch. Um, and I'm not the kind of guy to just. I haven't been doing a ton of content lately because it is what it is, guys. There's not really an hour to talk about this in this post game. Until we can fire some coaches, make some changes, bring in some new players. It just kind of is what it is. So yeah, I guess that was the final 35-11 North Carolina. My buddy was over here. My buddy Mike was talking to him earlier today, asking my thoughts about the game, and I'm just like, I already had the thumbnail that I was going to use for the preview. We ended up not doing it because Halloween and everything. Just not wanting to be super super negative. Well, it had Mario. That's all I had on the thumbnail was Mario on Hamilton and the UNC logo and everything. Like, I've watched this guy be a stud for 3 years. Unless Adam Fuller changes his mind, Mike Norvell comes in with a different game plan, he's going to run all over us. And that's kind of what we saw all night. In the first half, they helped us out, similar to how Miami helped us out a little bit early on, throwing the ball some. Second half, they said, oh, no reason to throw it. And they just ran it. It's like eventually you adjust and force them to throw it again. But we never make those adjustments. We just sit back and let them pound it down our throat. People on here talking about the buyout. Guys, I'm one of the guys that was like, there's no way in hell Mike Norvell takes a buyout and gets bought out. He does. Like, he's given the opportunity. There's no difference between 3-9, 4-8, and 1-11, really. The difference is how miserable we are every week. Like, this is a brand new era that obviously misevaluated. They got terrible guys. But there's plenty of teams that are fighting for the conference, like SMU, that brought in 70 players last week. They got a whole new team outside of a few spots. There's going to be people out there. There's money in the coffers. For whatever reason with Florida State over the years, the administration and thing, no matter how on training you have them, they're not going to, and part of it, I guess, is being a state school, they're not going to go above and beyond and like go crazy. Like, we spent $15 million on it. We weren't going to spend 25 and set the market. They don't do stuff like that until, something happens. Till Saban's calling for Mike Norvell, or you're in the Willie Taggart situation and you got to make something happen. You got to go out and hire coaches. UNLV coach Brendan Moore is that's the number one name people talk about. You want the defense, you want the linebacker coach, Derek Nicholson from Miami. I get it. Those are all talked about. But you never really know with this shit till the season's up. That guy's in the playoff run or conference run, whatever he's in, at UNLV, he's not going to quit on his team. You could maybe signal to recruits if you fire coaches now, but it is what it is. I don't think it happens till after the season. But if Mike Norvell is going to stay, the path forward is clouded for me because he's not given an answer on whether he'll give up play calling. His comments on play calling is, okay, well, I'm just calling plays because I think with our current staff as it is, me calling plays, that's the best value I can provide to the squad. It makes sense. But that's a position you put yourself in by having Alex Atkins be promoted within. That's a position you put yourself in with Kenny Dillingham being willing to do that. And that's a position why you lost Kenny probably so fast. He might have waited for a little bit better a job than he took instead of a lateral move before he got the ASU job. If he could call plays. So that calling plays, just like it was with Jimbo Fisher, that calling plays is a stainless steel ceiling over your head when you're going out to hire these people. Who wants to come in and have their reputation and their kind of, their entire career in the hands of an offense that they don't get to call plays? No elite offensive coordinator is going to do it. They have no reason to. So it's a big question we got to find out. It's something to look out for, pay attention to. Because if he's willing to do that, step back, be a CEO, whatever, bring in somebody, maybe have a chance to go spend $2 million and get some top flight, sure enough guy that can come in here and run the thing. I've been talking a lot about it's such a dilemma. You've got the only real group that you have a solid group in recruiting is offensive line. You've got a 5-star, 2 4-stars, and a borderline 3-star, and Mario Nash committed. Alex Atkins, if you look at the recruiting rankings, he's a mile ahead. But his unit and his history of recruiting is so far in the dumpster right now. It's really hard the farther and farther you get. That's another terrible situation. So, do they wipe the whole staff out? Do they fire Atkins, Dugans, Thompson, Yak, everybody? I don't know. Is it Yak that's making these decisions, the decisions with the running backs? If so, I would not be happy. But my gut tells me he has nothing to do with that. That's all Mike Norvell and his game planning. And I think it's tough. I think Yak's put in a bad position with those running backs because no matter how much he coaches them up, like, how are you ever going to get rhythm? How are you ever going to take that next step as a running back? I've never seen anything like it. Like, usually running back one should get like 20 carries, 15, like a certain amount, but it's like they don't want Toafili over 10 carries. And then you've got 18 other people that have 4 carries, 7 carries, 4 carries, 6 carries. So, yeah, I think Yak, if you're asking me, Yak is the only guy that I would consider keeping. I don't know if I keep him at running backs coach. I don't know what you do with him. I think Yak is a plus on the staff. Alex Atkins, solely for the fact of the recruits that he has currently now. And it would have to be a devolved role as a, running game coordinator, passing game coordinator, something like that. You'd have to bring in a guy that could call plays and get the other half. We'll see. Defensively, it's so hard to judge. And I thought the defense played pretty well at certain times and things of that nature. But as long as this season goes by, you wonder why you keep Adam Fuller either. You don't fire him just to fire him. But the lack of creativity and adjustments with these third downs to where you just constantly give up these third downs and let teams just run it up the gut. It's tough. Defensive ends, unfortunately, you love Capucci's. He's a beast of a special teams coach. He's had freak defensive ends. But, this year it's just not up to par. And even if you believe in these coaches, you think they can turn it around. The issue with these guys is these were not get off the bus guys and go recruit everybody in the world. They built up, and I defended it, and they held on to their word. They did what they were supposed to. They built up every class. They got better and better and better. And they were going to sign a top 10 class this year. They had like 14, 15 commits, and they were all blue chips. 3 top 25 wide receivers, 3 top 100. They were doing all these great things, and it was all there. But with this now 1-8 schedule where you lost to Duke, you're 1-7 in the ACC, every bit of everything that you built up with a recruit, it's just all gone. Now, specific one-on-one relationships within this class that you have, for example, with Alex Atkins and those 4 guys that believe in him, those are one thing. But overall, as a recruiting, like, you're looking forward, all these guys you're looking to in 26, 27, like, it is what it is. Even if you believed this was the best staff in the world and this is just a 100% fluke, Big changes have to come to change the mindset. You need different coaches watching Mike Norvell. You need different coaches watching if they keep anybody, whoever remains. Because this was, the whole staff. You went into the season thinking you were good. You believed the Vegas believed you were the favorite to win the conference. You believed this was the fastest and the strongest team you ever had. You thought you could execute. You didn't think receivers were going to drop passes. You thought all these things. You thought DJU was the perfect quarterback. You said it. You thought he was the perfect quarterback to come in for this offense, and he was the antithesis of what you needed. You needed Malik Murphy from Duke. With him, you might have had a chance to do some things this year. The little bit of success we've had this year is when Brock and Luke have been able to get mobile and set some things up. So, yeah, it's how does it happen? I personally wasn't at practice. A lot of people I trust were there and things, but there's only so much you see in the media part. Like it's not the same as the actual practice. It's just how it goes. Some folks get to see things, certain players that reporters don't get to see, that they can't report that, they'll get in trouble. Uh, I've kind of defended the strength and conditioning program because, you know, up until that point, up until this season, everybody we've heard of, guys that have gone to the NFL, they've just rant and rave. We've seen guys show up here looking like Pillsbury Doughboys and leave as, sculpted out of diamond. But yeah, I can't argue with anybody that says there must be something in with the strength and conditioning. I mean, across the board, uh, you know, how could you be so separated from reality? If you were to bring the coaching staff back, how could you ever figure out if you were right again? So yeah, there just needs to be a major reset. It goes back to why I have no problem with the way they're doing the quarterbacks, bringing them in, bringing them out. You need some kind of spark to build something, because putting 2, 3, 4 plays together, it's tough. In my opinion, the coaching staff is not helping them out with their calling. Um, it's not helping them out with the play calling. You've got these quarterbacks out there that they're thinning the house at, and you're putting it on their shoulders, making them pass it 3, 4, 5 times in a row. It's no sense to me. Even I don't even give a shit if it's 2nd and 15, run it on 2nd and 3rd down and then throw it on 4th. They're just so out leveraged in everything they do from square one. Um, and then eventually there's a give up. There was definitely a give up. But these are the hardest FSU games to watch there has ever been. I can attest to that. It's tough. It's really, really tough.